So I recently watched Marvel Zombies, the animated series fully expanding on the What If episode for the Marvel Zombies in Marvel's animated What If series, and I had a lot of fun with it. But I'm not going to talk about that. What I really want to talk about is that this show introduced a character concept that surprisingly enough was not done in the comics at all. And it is shocking to see that this was brought up for an animated TV show for a What If, and not in the comics. Because that is fairly rare, to my knowledge. And believe me, there's like about a century's worth of comic books. But that's what I want to talk to you guys about today, and the potential for future adaptations of this character, that being, if the thumbnail and title didn't give it away, Infinity Hulk, which could arguably be one of the most powerful variants of the Hulk to date, though that is still very much in contention, because with the vast Marvel multiverse and what ifs and stuff going on in the mainline continuity of Marvel right now, yeah, that might not be such a big achievement at this point, but even still, Infinity Hulk is a concept that I don't think we ever really considered. And I'm really glad that the team behind the Marvel Zombies animated show came up with this idea, even if it was incredibly underbaked and could have been expanded upon a bit more. But we'll get into explaining who and what Infinity Hulk is and what his potential abilities could in fact be. But first, obviously, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel, it shows you want to see more. And don't forget to hype up the video to help boost it in the algorithm as well. Every little bit helps. Now then, what's the Infinity Hulk? And what exactly could his powers and abilities really be? Well, from what we learned from Marvel Zombies, Infinity Hulk is a version of the Hulk created when Bruce Banner, alongside the help of the sorcerers of the MCU that worked along with Doctor Strange and Wong, they ended up, after the zombie Thanos attack that Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Scott Lang in a jar managed to beat, gave him these particular sigils and seals on his body, which made him a storage device. Because at the end of the battle against zombie Thanos, who had all of the Infinity Stones, because this was an alternate universe, when this version of Thanos fell into the big pit that had a good chunk of the vibranium that Wakanda had, it created a massive explosion and caused something that's known as the Infinity Wave, and it basically had a bunch of infinity energy around the planet, and it was gushing out from this well, just continuously flowing outward, with insane amounts of power that could have drastic consequences for the rest of the universe. And so, to keep it from spreading and going out of control, Bruce Banner decided to make the ultimate sacrifice, to become a vessel for the infinity energy that the destroyed Infinity Stones and Infinity Gauntlet created. So, when Banner jumped right into that portal, he absorbed all of that energy as he transformed into the Hulk. But doing so, he essentially gave up his own ego and personality. He was no longer Bruce Banner, he was no longer the Hulk we knew in the MCU. He was something new. A being that guards and protects this energy no matter what. That is his singular purpose. And that is what he has done. He has stayed in that one singular point where there's still infinity energy around him, to the point where he's more than just a vessel, but also an anchor to keep that infinity energy from flowing outward into the universe and causing a bunch of damage. Now, if you got this far in the video, you're probably wondering two things. What are his powers, and why Bruce Banner / the Hulk needed to be this anchor for all this energy? Let's answer the latter first. The reason why the Hulk ended up being the anchor / vessel for this energy comes mainly down to the Hulk's near limitless ceiling of power that builds up within him due to his rage, but also the fact that the Hulk canonically, and I believe in this instance fully confirms in the MCU, at least different versions in the MCU Hulk, can absorb radiation. This is a common thing throughout Hulk in the comics, as well as seemingly now in the MCU. He can passively or forcefully absorb radiation within himself and build it up within him. It's not just gamma radiation that gives us power, but other forms of radioactive power can just fuel him and he can contain it. And since the Infinity Stones are a form of cosmic energy and radiation, that part of him being a vessel for near limitless power that can constantly build, makes him basically the perfect person to house the powers of the Infinity Stones, at least with the help of having it all contained within him. Even though it does kind of leak out, it is just energy that cannot be controlled by others besides him. Now on to what everybody else really wants to know. What are his powers and abilities? Well, in a sense, basically reality manipulation, reality warping, control over space, time, etc. Primarily because he has the powers of all 6 Infinity Stones, he essentially has all those different powers and can theoretically manipulate reality to his whim. His already near immeasurable strength is boosted by stuff like the Power Stone as well. He has near reality warping abilities alongside even stronger capabilities to absorb energy, and he's practically invulnerable. Now, in this fight, Infinity Hulk ended up fighting just a legion of basically the entire world zombified by Wanda Maximoff in this universe, and even a zombie Thor. He managed to fight off a good chunk of them by himself, to the point of even using near constructs and just force pushes from himself that could obliterate them with a touch. But due to the fact that this version of the Hulk has no real ego with a singular purpose to protect and encase this energy, he never really utilizes these powers to its fullest, because we see him fight a zombified Thor from post-Ragnarok, which could arguably be one of the strongest versions, if not the strongest version of Thor in the MCU up until that point. And he was zombified, and they were boxing it out. And it was still relatively even, but Hulk still managed to win towards the end. But if he had that mental capacity to really think and utilize his powers to their fullest, he potentially could have rewrote reality himself. But due to the nature of the seals and the immense energy placed within him, the singular purpose was to keep the energy contained. And so, he just could not use his powers to the degree that could literally at least contain the zombie virus in a more manageable way. So despite the clear indication that Infinity Hulk might be the strongest version of Hulk that could literally, with the power of the Infinity Stones, change reality as we know it, due to the fact that with all that energy and having that house within him, with the singular purpose of when he absorbed it basically being to keep it contained, he could not utilize those powers to their fullest and just could not really fight to his full potential in this instance. Which is why, theoretically, Infinity Hulk could be the strongest character in the entirety of the MCU to a degree. I mean, look, you saw what happened with Ultron Vision in the first season of What If had the Infinity Stones. He broke out and went towards the rest of the multiverse and wanted to basically assimilate all that and destroy all that. Just think what a Infinity Stone infused Hulk with just the raw cosmic energy of the Infinity Stones fueling his every action could be. He would be a literal world breaker, a reality breaker, a universe breaker. The possibilities are endless. Now, obviously, this is based off the MCU, so it's not as grand a scale as the comics would make it be, but the fact that we have these potential abilities for people that can wield the Infinity Stones, it's still out there. And while, unfortunately, this version of Infinity Hulk got overwhelmed by the zombies, allowing Wanda to just break through with her stronger mental control, and with the bit of a conduit boost from Kamala's bangles, she managed to not only absorb that infinity energy, but utilize it so she can rewrite reality, but that's an open-ended ending for the Marvel Zombies universe, because it doesn't seem like that was a real, rewrite of reality, just like a half-assed one, which could show that Wanda could not control the vastness of the infinity energy that Infinity Hulk had. But that's really all it comes down to. What ifs? Because despite what we see Infinity Hulk do in Marvel Zombies, the vastness of his potential with his abilities is really only brought down by the fact that he is just a single-minded guardian at that point. He doesn't have the mainline Hulk's personality of wanting to fight anybody there, or the childlike tantrums that he could have. He doesn't have Bruce Banner's intelligence and foresight to use this to help others. No, this version of the Hulk is so strong that they had to make it so that the powers overwhelmed him, and he had to keep this one singular goal in mind, as to not let the powers overwhelm and leak out. But even containing that energy and using it to its fullest could have potentially ended up destroying his body. We saw what happened to Professor Hulk in Endgame when he just snapped half the universe back into existence. His right arm was completely useless for a while. But even then, I really feel like Professor Hulk in the MCU was just significantly weaker than the actual Hulk at this point, unfortunately, at least based on the little we saw of him. But despite that, Infinity Hulk has insane potential to be just a universe-breaking threat, only held back by the singular goal of just staying in place and keeping the energy from overwhelming and basically ruining the rest of the universe as it goes out of control. So, yeah, him being an anchor is the only real reason why we don't see him utilize his full potential, which is a shame, but also fits the story as well. Infinity Hulk is definitely something that could have been expanded upon more in Marvel Zombies if they had more time, because this was just a plot beat that was introduced towards the end of Marvel Zombies, and it was a shame because it's a really cool concept that we didn't even get in the comic books. That is a crazy thing, like I said at the beginning. But still, it's a fun idea that I'm really glad that we got, and that we can discuss this all we want. But at the end of the day, it's there, it's done with. Now, we'll see if this could potentially happen again in the future in a different variety. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below on your thoughts on Infinity Hulk, his potential, and what he could have been in that series if he was just expanded upon enough. And what do you think Infinity Hulk could have been able to do if he had full control and had the full mental capacity to think through everything while containing that near immeasurable amount of energy? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let me know what other characters you'd like me to do one-off videos on in the future, because these are a lot of fun, and I really do want to do a lot of these going into the future, even if it is just the MCU stuff related for the time being. But with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have an awesome day.